to Ridecast, the podcast of the Widow Sons Ridings chapter. The opinions expressed in this episode do not represent those of the Widow Sons Masonic Biker Association UK and Ireland. You can find us on Facebook at Widow Sons-Ridings chapter, on Instagram at WidowSons_Ridings chapter. Our website is ridings.wsmba.uk. You can look us up on YouTube by searching for the Ridecast channel. And if you want to contact us directly, email us on ridecast@hotmail.com. Right, that's the housekeeping taken care of. Kickstands up, on with the show. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Ridecast. And this is the season 2, season finale. It was pegged to be the Christmas episode, like the Christmas special, this one. But I think by the time we get everything edited and published, it's going to be probably the new year. So we'll call this one the New Year episode, shall we, guys? The New Year special. Anyway.
You've got now on tomorrow. Get it done tomorrow.
I'll do my best.
Or the end of year special.
Anyway, let me introduce everyone. Obviously, I'm Yaka, and with me, my usual co-host, I've got Gremlin.
Hello.
And Pigpen.
Hello.
And we also have a guest this evening, a special guest, another chapter member. Occasionally, you'll know we have chapter members on the show. And this guy, well, he's an old timer. And I don't mean that chronologically. I don't mean he's elderly. I mean, he's been a member of the chapter for a very long time, longer than all three of us here.
Put together.
So, yeah, exactly. So here he is. This is the one, you've heard him before on the show, the one and only Bobby.
Hey, good evening.
Especially for you, that one, Bobby. He's not going to like that, is he? So, as I said, Bobby has been a member for a very long time. When I first became a candidate at the chapter and went out riding, Bobby was one of the first guys I went out riding with, and he, showed me the ropes, as it were, as a member of the Widow Sons. So, thanks for that, Bobby. How's it going?
Yeah, it's going very well, thank you. Yeah, I do remember that. I remember it well. You had a proper bike, didn't you?
That's right. It was me, you, and 2 hours. And I had the BMW at the time, the GS 1200. And I think you were on that old Tiger, weren't you?
I was.
Yeah, the old one. So anyway, Bobby, just a little rundown on your background. First of all, how long have you been a Freemason?
Oh, I've been a Freemason 32 years.
32 years.
I know.
Jeez. So how old were you when you were initiated?
21. I joined a couple of months after my 21st birthday. I'm a Lewis, which is the son. Well, a Lewis technically is the uninitiated son of a Mason, and I was a 5th generation Lewis. So my dad and his dad and
so on. Back in time.
Yeah.
Wow. So it runs in the family then.
Yeah. It was just something that interested me as a child.
And are you still in the same lodge that you joined then, or have you shifted to different lodges through the years?
No, I'm no longer in the lodge I was in. I was in the fantastic St James's number 448 over in Halifax, at Southwood in Halifax. And just through circumstances, one thing and another, I am now in the Musket, Pike and Drum Lodge of Historical Reenactment.
Yes, you do the reenactments, don't you?
I don't, but most of the members do. Although I have taken part in one once.
What was that? Was that the Alamo or something?
That was the reenactment of the Battle of the Alamo.
I remember you telling us about that one. Didn't Frank build the sort of the fortress? He built a mock-up of the fortress, didn't he?
We did a 1-to-1 scale mock-up of the Alamo, built out of plywood, scaffolding, and 4x2, which was absolutely unbelievable. It took 6 months of our lives to build it. Yeah.
My God.
And did you burn it down at the end?
No, but the doors got smashed by the marauders coming in with axes and all sorts and smashed them down. It was a bit, I have to say, having never taken part in anything like that before, it did get a bit scary at times.
So were you playing a Texan or a Mexican?
I was playing I'd said that I wasn't going to take part because when I left, my lovely wife said to me, if I find out you've taken part, I'm going to divorce you because it's only one step away from becoming a Morris dancer. So so I wasn't, and then I sort of got bamboozled into it and became a Mexican peasant, and took part running up and down with some ladders, carrying people on and off with stretchers.
Fantastic, good man.
Fantastic.
No, it was actually really, really interesting.
Wow. So you've been a member of the Musket, Pike and Drum Lodge for how long, Bobby?
Oh, about for 4 or 5 years, I think that's all.
What about your biking background?
I was one of these, oh my God, he's going to kill himself, new to biking at the age of late 30s, early 40s. Started off on a Varadero 125, loved it.
Yeah, know him well.
Thought it was really fast until I did my direct access on the proper bikes. Then my first bike was a Triumph 955 Tiger.
Yeah. You jumped up to quite a big bike for a first proper bike then, really.
I did, but although it's a big engine, and don't get me wrong, yeah, it's powerful, but it's not like it's more of a touring bike. It's not a zooming around bike.
True, yeah.
Big, heavy thing though. Then that died, and I got one of the first Tiger Explorers, the 1200 Tigers as they called now, but they were just called Triumph Tiger Explorers. Then the 1200, one of those.
Yeah.
I had that for a few years, and then when I retired from my previous job, which everybody can now guess, thanks very much, and the explanation of the word name Bobby. I treat myself to one of the, well, not the brand new that's just come out, but one of the 1200 Tigers. So in 2019, I got one of the 1200 Tiger XCA Explorer sort of thing.
Yeah. So tell us, Bobby, how long have you been a member of the Widow Sons?
Oh, I don't actually know. Not since it first started, obviously, but quite early on. There were only probably about 6 or 7 members.
So I'm guessing it must have been around about, 2015, 2016 when you joined the Ridings chapter then, something like that?
Probably even before then, actually. But yeah, it was around then.
So that's our Bobby. That's a little intro of Bobby. Bobby's one of our old-time members, as I've already alluded to. We also have another Riders Chapter member with us as a guest this evening, and this brother is a very, very new member of the Riders Chapter. In fact, I think, if I'm right, Pigpen, he's the newest member of our chapter.
Yep, he's our last patched-in member.
Without any further ado, let me introduce to you our brother, Inky. Hello, Inky.
Hello, thanks for having me.
There you go, a round of applause just for you. I've actually got a little bit of music ready for you as well. See if anyone can guess what Inky's profession is.
Now it's a job that just suits me. A window cleaner you would be if you can see what I can see when I'm cleaning windows.
Well, that's not strictly true, is it? That's just part of your skill
It's
set.
a chimney sweep.
Voyeur. Peeping Tom.
Steptoe was the other one, but
Yes, I was going to put the steptoe music on, but I thought I'd go with the George Formby there.
I've got one of his cookers.
George
Or is it a grill?
Griller, yeah. Anyway, right, over to you, Inky. How long have you been a Freemason?
Oh, must be coming up 7 or 8 years now.
Right, okay. And are you still in the original lodge that you were initiated into?
Yeah, joined Knaresborough Priory, and then, obviously been there for my sins ever since.
So you're actually in the same lodge as Pigpen, aren't you?
Yes, yeah.
Yes, you are lodge brothers, as it were. Okay, what about
And
your biking?
lodge lovers.
What about your biking background?
I think I passed my test about, it must be 10, 11 years ago. And my first bike was a Yamaha Diversion XJ600.
Do you know, I rode one of those as a company bike for about 8 years when I was an instructor. So I know them well, the divvies, know them well.
The nice bikes. I bought it for 125 quid. It all needed full strip down repaint. But I was on a budget and I got it, did it up, put a double Del Kevic exhaust on it. That was worth more than the bike.
So what else have you had apart from the divvy?
FZR 600Rs, had a couple of them.
Yeah.
And compromised now with a cruiser style bike. And here I am.
And go on, tell us what make and model of bike you ride. Come on, let's get that out of the way.
You got a Fat Bob 114?
Yes, and then obviously before that was the 48 that I had.
Sportster 1200.
So obviously we've established that you've only recently joined the Widow Sons, but while we've got a new member here, it might be interesting for you to just run by us the what it was like actually meeting the Widow Sons and going through the process of becoming a Widow Son. What was that like? How long did it take for a start off?
Well, obviously I've been meaning to sort of wanting to join for a while, and then I was under the perception that I had to join another degree to join, and I thought, well, I'm not doing anything else till I go through the chair in my lodge.
Who told you that nonsense?
Well, it's just what I thought until I spoke to Andy. Was it Ladies' Night, Andy?
Can we use his proper name, please? Pig Pen.
Oh.
Yeah, I think we were chatting at ladies' night, and
Yeah.
like I say, you just had a few wrong ideas about what it was, and when we sort of went over it and talked through it, and all of a sudden your face lit up, and
I think it was a week later I had a bike, didn't I?
you didn't even have a bike at the time. Literally, didn't have a bike, and it was like, so I don't have to join another degree and do. No, it's just you need a
Get
bike.
a bike, come out for a ride.
And that was it. He'd bought a bike and rung me up and said, I've got a bike. What do I do now?
So it was beginning of the season you first started coming out. Was it literally the beginning of this year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of it's just like Freemasonry in itself. It's like that when you go in, you've got certain views, but you get in and it's more relaxed than you think it's going to be. And obviously, joining Freemasonry, you sort of learned that. But obviously, the widow's son's side of things, it's a totally different kettle of fish. It's just amazing how on a level everyone is.
Yeah. No worshipful brothers in the widow's sons.
No, we don't get looked down on too much, do we?
No. The only people that look down on us are the guys on the Harleys.
Well, and I think you'll just find Inky has a Harley.
I know, that's what I was saying.
So nobody will look down on him.
No.
No, the Harley drivers look down us from the back of the recovery trucks.
You see, I'd rather that, because all I do is look over my shoulder to see where the Harley riders are.
Yeah, they're in your mirrors. Well, anyway, it's nice to have you, Inky. It's great to have a new addition to the chapter. And I suggest, guys, we crack on with this episode. Now we know who everyone is.
Yeah.
Okay, so where are we with the news update, Gremlin?
We had a Christmas party.
We did. Go on, run that by us. It was pretty successful, as I recall.
Yep, very. And I have to be honest, and even though it pains me, we have to thank Pink Pen really, because he contacted the location, the venue, which was the Bridge Inn at Walshford near Wetherby, and we got a room booked, which had a private bar and a disco, and I think there were about 41 of us there.
Yeah, it was a good turnout, wasn't it? Real good turnout.
Yeah, and it was a successful evening.
It was. How did you rate the food, guys?
As school dinners go, it was quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to be fair, it was easily accessible, the venue. I think if we'd have booked it earlier, people could have stayed there, but the rooms were all taken. So I think I'm going to speak to them in the next few weeks and just see if we can get a date booked and let people know when the Christmas party will be.
Well, it was nice to have a private room, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The last couple of Christmas parties we've had to share
we
a
have.
room with other Christmas parties. So we had a
We
private
have.
room, so that was good.
We have.
And we did a raffle.
We did. And who won? I didn't. I got chuff all. Oh, no, I got some writing chapter stickers. Woohoo!
I won a bottle of grouse.
I got the powder coating, which obviously I was going to get my brake levers and stuff done anyway, so that works out.
Oh, yeah, the powder coating, that was from Buzz, wasn't it? He put that on. He has a company, our Buzz owns a company that does powder coating, so he'd offered, what was it, a couple of wheels or something? Your wheels?
Just a couple of wheels, but he's going to obviously have a look at it and see what he can do, and yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, it was a very nice prize.
Yeah. So what did we raise for charity, and what charity was that for?
We raised £270 at the raffle, which we are going to round up to £500 as a chapter, and we're going to give it to the Life Lights charity, which is the charity at the moment which the widow's sons are. They're wanting to do £20,000 in 4 years.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, and we'll be coming back to that particular charity in segment 2, which we'll come to in a minute, because we've got a really good segment 2 coming up. But anyway, so that was the Christmas party. Anyone else have anything to say about the Christmas party?
I was going to say I didn't get a chance to dance with my one leg. Apparently, the president gave a very, very good speech.
Did they?
I don't remember that.
There were laughters and tears.
I must have been in the toilet. Right, moving on, guys, moving on. What else have we got? I've got in my little list here of updates the release of the 2023 National Rally tickets. So they are on sale now, so that's very exciting.
It is.
And we're, along with 2 other chapters, we're hosting the National Rally this year, aren't we, Grimline?
We are indeed. And it is the last weekend in July at some rugby club in Hull. I can't remember the address, but it's a rugby club in Hull.
It's just this side. It's just by the bridge, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
So we have a web page, and we also have a Facebook page.
Yep.
So it's the National Rally 2023
UK and Ireland National Rally, isn't it? So all you widow sons out there and any other listeners, have a look for that on.
Yeah.
I think you actually have to be accepted onto that page, don't you? You can't just, it's a private page.
And for those of you who remember the old adverts of Pontins, and that Fred Pontin used to come on and say, remember, book early.
There's one more update I'd like to bring to the table.
What's that?
We're all very excited to announce that on Saturday, the 7th of January, El Presidente here.
Da, 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 da,
Hold on.
da, da.
There you go, Gremlin, just for you. Our president, Gremlin, will be let me just turn that off. Will be collecting his new tricycle.
I will try.
Yes, go on. What is it? It's a Harley Davidson tricycle.
It is a Harley Davidson free-wheeler. Between you and me, it wasn't free.
No.
Is it a Reliant Robin?
It looks like it.
So that's over in Leeds Harley Davidson.
Leeds Harley Davidson, big plug there. Thank you, Chris, and the gang there that's got the bike ready.
You've had a couple of mods done, haven't you, for the rear brake?
Yeah.
Have you had a little test run on it yet?
No, tested.
Oh, how did that go?
She crashed it. You think I'm joking?
No, I don't.
I think Ben told me at the Christmas party.
Yeah.
What happened? She clipped one of the back wheels on a bike or something.
She did, yes. So I've got a nice scratch now on my left mudguard, rear mudguard. I think the problem is she didn't realise how wide it was.
Yeah, of course. Because you see the front of the bike, which is nice and narrow like a regular bike.
Yeah.
But you've got to allow for what's behind you, haven't you?
Thank God she wasn't filtering. And I ended up with one wheel and it going all the way straight down.
It's got to be wide to be able to pull that plough on it. So,
oh, piggy.
So
wiggy.
we're all going to, hopefully, weather permitting. I mean, obviously, if it's snowing, I think you'll be on your own, Gremlin, if I'm honest.
Well, I can get some skis attached to, being a trike, it's an all-weather bike.
We'll escort you in our cars. It's with the heating on.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll meet you around the corner on my Triumph because last time I went in there, I got so much positive feedback from the customers who were taking photographs that I had to, it was difficult to leave.
Did the dealership bar you from going?
No, what happened though was York Triumph put him on commission because they had that many inquiries.
Yeah,
true. It's true.
if it's raining, I'll follow behind you and pick up.
So, like I say, all being well, if the weather's good, I know that you'll get a lot of support and you'll get an escort. And I think the plan is to ride from the Harley dealers to Squires for a brew.
It is indeed. I mean, right. One of the reasons, and I've got to be totally honest with you, this will be my first ride since that fateful day on February the 25th. And, to have some support with me will be brilliant because will I be nervous getting on it? I don't know. The last time I was sat on a bike, I lost my leg. And, it's a big step.
It's going to be emotional for all of us.
Emotional, absolutely emotional.
It'll be emotional for all of us going to Harley Davidson.
Yeah.
It's always a big step with one foot. So
yeah. So anyway, we'll look forward to that. That's going to be a nice ride home. It's going to be a sort of drawing a line under the whole.
Yep. It's the start of my riding career again, and who knows? Hopefully, in 2024, I might be on two wheels.
Hell yeah.
I thought you were going to say you might have got to York by 2024.
I'm not pushing it,
And we're back into segment 2 of the show. And this segment's being recorded on a separate day to the other two segments. So we don't have Inky and Bobby with us on this one. So it's just me, Gremlin and Pigpen. But we are joined by a special guest.
Very special guest.
The high-profile widow's son.
The highest profile widow's son.
Dare I say it, a VIP. Well, he's cringing a bit now. So Gremlin set this one up. So Gremlin, I'd like to hand over to you to introduce our VIP guest.
Well, we are honoured and delighted to welcome to Ridecast Worshipful Brother Gregory Kirby, who is chairman of the Widow's Sons Masonic Bikers Association.
Welcome, Greg. And as Gremlin said, Greg is the chairman, the top man in Widow's Sons UK and Ireland. So in honour of that, I've got some music here, especially for Greg. Yeah, that's enough of that. Right.
Greg, be very careful. Be very careful. I was made president that was recorded when I was made president. I was in hospital a week after having my leg amputated, so just be very careful with that piece of music.
Is it cursed, do you think, that piece of music? Right, so we've got a few questions to ask you, Greg. Oh, by the way, Greg, before we go any further, what's your road? Do you have a road name?
I do.
Go ahead, what's your road name?
Prep school.
Prep school. There you go, everyone. So it's prep school. And which chapter are you in, Greg?
I'm in the oldest chapter now in the association, Southeast.
Southeast chapter. You must have quite a few members down there then, do you?
Well, a quick overview. We were a very large chapter covering the Southeast region. We were about 120 guys, so we split off Southern. And after there's 60, we then split off East to West Kent, rebuilt the numbers up again, and then we've hived off recently Surrey and Sussex.
Wow.
The Southeast chapter still has around 30 plus members.
That's fantastic. A lot of bikers down in your neck of the woods then.
Yes.
Right, Gremlin, you have a list of questions you're going to ask Greg, I believe.
Yep. Okie dokie. Well, the first question is, how long have you been a Freemason, Greg?
In January 2023, that'll be my 40th year.
How many? 40?
40. I went in at 21.
Wow.
Blimey. Wow. So how did you get in? How did you, was it through family or friends, or were you a Lewis or?
No, my grandfather was a knife and fork mason, and he knew that my school had a lodge. And so he sent me down East Street Market to meet the secretary and to introduce myself, and asked to join the lodge, as it was in those days. You didn't, you had to ask first. It wasn't the other way around.
Right, yeah. Different times, wasn't it?
Especially as I was also at the end of the punk era and I had blonde hair that had gone red. Well, it didn't go red, it went pink because it went wrong. And so my grandfather said, we've got to do something about that for starters. And so I dyed it brown and nobody noticed the difference.
That would have raised a few eyebrows around the interview, wouldn't it, I guess?
Well, bear it in mind, when it went from blonde to pink, I was working on a building site. So you can imagine how much stick I took.
Well, I don't think you look old enough to have been a member for 40 years. That's incredible. Congratulations.
So 40 years ago, which lodge did you join?
It was my mother lodge, and I'm now the secretary. And that's the Old Wilsonians. It was a grammar school in Southeast London, Camberwell, and it's now become one of the top schools in the country.
Fantastic.
So I'm guessing you were probably, when it comes to the widow sons, you were probably in from the sort of ground floor up then, were you, when it first started?
I joined National, and when they decided there was enough of us to start Southeast chapter, I was a founder member.
Well, that leads us on to question 2, which was, how long have you been a widow's son?
Good question, because unfortunately we've lost our secretary, old Bob. But I reckon I joined about 2006.
Mm-hmm.
And that was national chapter. That, as you said, was national chapter, which was the first, the original chapter, which had members from all over the country that joined one central chapter, wasn't it? And then other chapters were spawned from that original chapter, weren't they?
Well, we were the first.
You were the first to sort of peel away from the national and create your own.
Well, I say we're the first surviving. There were others, but they didn't last.
Okay.
We have survived.
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
Fantastic. So it leads on to the next question. Obviously, being a widow's son, you have to be a motorbike rider. So how long have you been riding motorbikes?
Well, when I was a teenager, I was riding them for commuting. And then I got knocked off obviously I was told ride with your headlight. So I did. I hit a pothole and a van thought I was flashing to let him out.
Right.
So I drove straight into him, flew over the bonnet, broke my leg, and Mum said, enough of that. So I had to get a car. And that was the end of my motorcycling up till, but I always had harboured a dream to have a Harley.
Why?
Greg, what a fantastic dream. That's all I can say.
Sounds like a nightmare.
When you're 7 and you see a Harley Davidson for the first time, you go, wow.
Yep.
And it took me a long time, obviously, to get to that point.
I'm 50. I'm 57, and I still say, "Wow."
Mm.
Well, you got to remember that I could ride up to 250 back then on a provisional license.
And were you riding a 250, Greg?
I was a Honda CJ 250T.
CJ 250. I don't know what that one is. Do you, Pigpen? I've not heard of that.
No, that's.
I thought you were going to say something like an RD 250 or something. I was expecting.
No, I remember them, but no, I was riding a big Honda.
Right.
Well, it looked big, you know. But anyway, wrote my leg off, and so that was the end of that. And then I passed my driving test for full motorcycle in about 1999, I think, and thought, right, I've got that now. I never thought to think more of it until I got stuck in one horrendous traffic jam in Greenwich, where for an hour I didn't move, and I lived 10 minutes away from where I was stuck, and all that went past me was motorcycles.
Yeah.
So, and I'm a residential letting agent for clients. So I'm normally turn up suited and booted in a car, show people around flats and houses and deal with all the paperwork, etc., and hand it over. So I phoned them up and said, do you mind if I do this on a motorcycle? And they went, we don't care what you do as long as you get us the tenants. So I went out and bought a motorcycle.
Right. And what was that?
It was a Kawasaki KLE 500.
Oh yeah, that's like a motocross style thing, isn't it?
Correct. And the reason being that you're about the height of a Ford Transit van driver, so you can see what everybody's doing before they take you out.
You'd obviously passed your bike test before.
Oh yeah, 1999. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
You rode the motocross bike for work to get you around then?
All over London. And then the 364 days of owning it, it got stolen.
Right.
So that was my no claims bonus out the window.
Have you had many bikes since then? Are you the sort of person that changes bikes on a regular basis?
Well, I liked that bike. So I went for something similar, a Honda Vigor.
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember that? Single cylinder?
Don't remember that one. Oh,
Yeah, Pigpen, because Pigpen loves the mighty Hondas, so he dreams about them.
Right. Well, I learned a lesson with that.
Never to buy a Honda again.
Single cylinder motorcycles eat oil.
Yeah.
Right.
I never dipped the oil stick.
Oh, you didn't seize it, did you?
Seized it up, did you?
Yep. I rode it all the way down the Old Kent Road, and somebody stopped me and said, "Is that all right?" And I went, "Yeah." But it sowed a seed of doubt. So I rode all the way to Bexley to the dealer and said, "I think there might be something wrong with this bike." And he just unscrewed the oil cap, which was the oil dipstick, which was smoking away, and went, "You've got no oil in it."
It's dry. I tell you what, say what you like about Hondas, but they can run without oil.
So can a Harley.
I guess Harleys need to be able to run without oil because they're always dumping it out.
Hey, hang on.
They're always leaking it,
whoa.
You don't have much in them.
Well, I've just ridden back from the Faro Rally this summer, and I set off with full oil dip, and on the way back, the bike, I did 2,500 miles in 3 days of riding, and on the way back from France to Calais, something didn't sound right, and I dipped the oil stick, and there was nothing on it.
Right.
So I limped it home, and but I did have a litre with me, so I threw that in because obviously, if you remember, the summer was very, very hot, and I was riding through fires and all sorts of things. And when I spoke to the dealer, he said, "No," he said, "You've still got 3 litres in there." He said, "These things, Harley boasts that you could ride this thing across a desert with 1 cup of oil in it," and he was right. They serviced the bike, and it's as good as new.
So you've got your dream Harley, but what have you had in between? Give us.
Whoa. Why would you want anything to talk about anything else apart from a dream Harley?
No, because I want to hear what Greg's ridden in between. I want to hear the variety of machines he's owned and ridden.
Well, the commuting side of things, obviously, after they wrote the Vigor off, I thought, what next? And so I got a Honda Dolville.
Oh, DeVille, yeah. They're the 650. They've got the built-in panniers at the back, haven't they?
Correct.
Yeah, they're horrible, aren't they? They're horrible.
But It's the NTV 650V engine. It's bulletproof.
Really?
Even I couldn't write that off. The trouble is, though, I ride in London. I've been knocked down 6 times. And every time I've won, because obviously it's drivers doing U-turns on me, not indicating or something stupid. So you can't fault the Dover. It's the Ford Transit van of the bike world.
Yes, it is. You're right. And about as attractive to look at as well.
Nobody stole it.
That's good. That's a good point. Yeah, and you can just jet wash them down, can't you? They are bulletproof bikes.
They are.
Being that you ride in London, do you use any like dash cam equivalent bike, helmet cams or anything like that in case of somebody pulling out in front of you?
No, but I've now actually replaced my last Deauville with a Triumph Tiger XRT 1200, and I'm thinking of putting cameras front and back.
Yeah.
Because I've been rear-ended. I've had all sorts happen, and camera doesn't lie, does it?
No, they're great in that event, aren't they? There's no arguments. As soon as you say, you're on camera, mate, then they stop arguing with you. So a little tradition we do on Ridecast is we ask our guests or anyone we're interviewing, we call it the first and worst. So we've got your first bike. What was your worst bike?
They've always been a journey of discovery. My first Harley was an Evo. I mean, I loved it. It looked great. You stop at a set of traffic lights, people would look at it and talk to you. And, wherever we went anywhere, everyone slagged off the Harley, but all the girls want to sit on it.
There you go.
I rest my case. So,
Pigpen, any comments to that one? How many of the ladies want to sit in your mighty Honda?
It's going to be one of those episodes, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? There's dreamers.
I mean, we all know that the Honda, the Kawasaki, Yamaha does a wannabe Harley, but it's never the same.
Don't get into it, Pigpen.
Often imitated, never equaled.
Yes, absolutely.
Do not be drawn in.
No. So you've not really even your worst bike you loved is what you're telling us.
Yeah, they've all been, when I was younger, obviously I started off, my first actual bike was a Honda C90.
Right, yeah.
Ah.
A billion Chinese can't be wrong, can they?
No.
Whizzed around all over I mean, when I discovered later on that people have taken them around the world.
Yeah.
A guy's even done the Beaujolais run on one. I wish I'd kept it.
Well, they're quite a collector's item now, aren't they?
They are.
Absolutely. I was surrounded by fizzes, and the Yamaha would bring out the water cooler. The Super Dream came out.
Honda Nightmare. Okay, what's next, Gremlin? What have you got for us?
Well, we've had what bikes have you had? But what do you ride now? You said you got your Triumph Tiger. Is that your only bike at the moment?
Oh, no.
Go on, tell us.
I've got my Harley Davidson Road King Classic. Okay,
good. And that's the one you've just done 2,500 miles from the Faro Rally.
Yep. I took the ferry from Portsmouth to Santander to sort of break down the journey and have a bit of a rest.
Yeah.
And then rode her from Santander to Jerez in one hit.
Yeah.
And they warned me that it was warm.
Yeah.
And they said the warmest place in Spain will be Seville. It's like in some sort of a bowl, and I literally felt a wall of heat as I was going up this hill. I mean, all the lorries were in the crawler lane, and the engine management system suddenly cut out, and I was losing power. So I pulled the clutch in and coasted into the tunnel, got the other side, and stopped for a little while, let it recover, and also myself. And there I can see the fires in the distance. And then I was getting a temperature reading on the handlebars of about 48 centigrade.
Yeah, it's miserable.
When I got to Jerez, it was 35.
So from a point of view of riding your bike, what were you wearing clothes-wise, protection-wise?
I was fully levered up.
Oh, God.
With every zip open.
Wow. I bet you were having to drink a lot to keep yourself hydrated then, weren't you? I bet you must have been wringing wet through in those leathers.
I carried a case of half-litre bottles with me.
Yeah.
And every time I stopped to fill up with petrol, I would deck half a litre.
Yeah.
I didn't pee.
No, you won't need to, will you? You'd have been
No.
sweating it straight out.
Straight
Wow.
out.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of riding in hot temperatures. I mean, we've had a hot summer, as all of us will know this year, and our listeners included. You know, we were getting up to high 30s, 40 degrees this summer in certain areas, and no way am I the sort of person that would ride a bike in those conditions. I don't like it much hotter than 25 degrees, mate.
Now, did you wear your widow's son's cut?
All the way, there and back.
Fantastic. Now, next question, Greg. When did you become chairman of the Widow's Sons, and how long is the term?
Well, I was elected, proposed and seconded and voted in at February of this year. And every year you have to be proposed and seconded. It's an annual term.
Yeah. And you took over from the legend that is Worshipful Brother Peter Younger. Shout out to Peter if you're listening, and we know that you are. Thanks for your service. You did many, many years as chairman.
Well, at least one chairman's listening, the past chairman.
No, we know Peter listens for definite. He's commented a few times on our posts. So, but yeah. Anyway, back to you, Greg.
Well, now you've mentioned Peter, I'd like to add a comment that though he's past chairman, he is very much still involved. And if I need an experienced opinion on something, he's my go-to guy. I don't like to trouble him, of course, unless I have to, because obviously he's a single dad, did a fantastic job bringing up Amy, and he's got his own career to worry about and his own health, etc. But he's been fantastic for the association. And I think if you remember one of my first chairman reports, I did quote, I can see further because I stand on the shoulder of giants.
Yes, yeah.
And it's Peter.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
And I've got an exclusive for all our listeners now. If you want to hear Peter talking, I've heard through the grapevine that he will be appearing as a guest on the new Craftcast podcast. So hello to our brethren at Craftcast as well.
Excellent.
Good. He's a good ambassador for the association, without a doubt.
Yeah, very much so. So what are your duties as chairman?
Very good question.
Listening to complaints, isn't it?
Might be listening to the complaint, but it's not listening to Ridecast, is it?
Well, I cut my teeth on dealing with issues as vice chair, stroke secretary, and I'm going to adopt the same attitude. That's why I've got two vice chairs, because the association has grown. From when we were like Jonathan Long, I spoke to Jonathan Long. I said, John, when you started this association, how big did you think it would become? And he said, we reckoned about 100.
Wow.
We're over 1,000 now.
And that's just the UK?
Well, no, we're England and Wales.
Oh, England and Wales, right.
Is it Ireland as well? Because it's UK and Ireland, isn't it?
I'm just trying to establish a couple of things here so there's no confusion, because we have a lot of confusion. And we are aligned with UGLE, which is United Grand Lodge of England and Wales. Obviously, Ireland were happy to be chartered by us. And they probably have about 90 to 100 members. With us on Scotland, over 100. But the bulk of it is we are approaching around 1,000 members within England and Wales.
Across how many chapters is that, Greg?
With 32 chapters.
Okay.
And we are still working on, but basically I think there's 44 provinces under England and Wales. And that's what we're aiming for, as you know, one chapter per province.
What's your sort of day-to-day running of the PGB all about?
The PGB, as you know, is all the presidents of the association, and it's on equal footing. The chair really is just basically, the figurehead of the association. I don't have any secret agenda. However, I won't hide the fact that I'm trying to raise our profile, and I'm luckier than most PGB members that I actually live in London. So I'm in and out the big house quite a lot. I will bump into people like Sir David Wootton, Sir Michael Schneider, Patrick Penny, and I would just go, "Hey, have you heard of the Widow's Sons?" In fact, they're getting bored of hearing from me now because, and they were all agreed, they like what we do.
Yeah.
And so we've got friends in high places. So I just want to keep promoting that because I want them to take us seriously.
Yeah.
1,000 guys and pre-COVID raising over 150 grand a year. That's not to be sneezed at.
No, absolutely. And frankly, they should utilize us because we're out in the public, aren't we? We're not in tiled lodges. I think there's still, I don't know how you feel about this, Greg, but I think in some lodges, there's still a little resistance to the Widow's Sons. There's still a bit of a, they turn their nose up at us a little bit with the whole Freemasons in leathers. Do you come across that at all?
I have come across it. And those the sort of lodges that have the attitude and lodges that have no future. Masonry has changed. When I first joined Masonry 40 years ago, we were 300,000 England and Wales. We're down to 200,000 today. We've lost 100,000 members in 40 years.
Yeah.
So how do you stop the rot? You've got to remember as well that I joined an old school lodge and they were closed. So unless you went to my school, you couldn't join. To survive, we became an open lodge.
Yeah.
But we could have been, defined as a specialist lodge. And what's happening today? They're springing up all over the place. Football lodges, rugby, cricket, cycling.
Hunting, fishing.
You got it.
Yeah,
They're all over the place. Right. So obviously Masonry is trying to broaden its appeal. Now, getting back to what you said earlier, Yaka, about we're in the public face. I've often argued this. That's why we have to have a high standard.
Yeah.
Because we are in the public. There's lots of Masonic associations where there's a chess, cricket, shooting, golf. If you're a Masonic Golfing Association, how the hell are you going to know he's a Freemason? With us, we walk up into somewhere, running toys or PPE or food, whatever, all the various rides we've done and whatever. We've got our square and compasses.
Front and centre, yeah.
So you're a Freemason. We can't run away from that. So we've always got to maintain a standard. And that's why I do despair when we do have issues within the association, because we shouldn't have. We all went through the same initiation.
Yeah. So have you heard that, Pigpen? Behave when you're on that bike of yours.
You heard yourself. A question I've got for you, Greg. Do you think Oogle will ever bring us into the fold?
They will never endorse any association. I have seen correspondence to that effect.
Right.
But I'm not bothered.
No, I just didn't know if they'd ever bring us in more, but guess not.
When I was president, well, I still am president of South East Chapter, we made the then current provincial Grand Master for Hampshire and Isle of Wight, Mike Wilkes, an honorary member. He's now past provincial Grand Master. He's still leading the toy runs. He is a good friend of ours, and he has other provincial Grand Masters or ex-provincial Grand Masters as friends who also ride. So we are winning friends in the right places.
Yeah.
But UGLE will never officially endorse us. They won't endorse any association, but we are in the yearbook.
At the National Rally in July, you chartered, was it 4 or 5 new chapters? Have you got many being potentially going to be chartered at the next National Rally?
We are hoping that some of the larger regions, as I call them, as in like you've got East Midlands, Northwest, and Wyvern, are hoping to put some candidates forward. So potentially we're looking at Derby, Notts, Leicester and Rutland and Gloucester.
Okay.
So potentially 4 there if they can get their act together.
And when a new chapter is chartered and we're aiming, as I say, one for each province, do you make anybody going into a Freemasons Hall? Do you run up and say, "Hello, Sir David, just to let you know, we've got another one chartered. When are you going to come and see us? Do you fancy a ride in my Harley?" How does the conversation go?
Well, what tends to happen is I'll be somewhere and somebody will say, "Oh, that's the provincial Grand Master for so and so," and if I know he's not got a Widow Sons chapter, I will go and introduce myself.
Okay.
Or if I know they have got a chapter, I ask them how they think it's working out.
Yeah.
And those that have chapters are always very positive.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you, Greg. With the one chapter per province target, do you think that's viable, given that some of the provinces are quite small and maybe won't contain that many bikers? And out of that small number of bikers, only a smaller number are going to want to actually join the Widow's Son. So do you think it's viable to have one chapter per province?
I do, actually. You've got to bear in mind as well that whoever helps these chapters along will be mentoring them.
Yeah.
And and the other thing as well is we're still recruiting. Guys are still coming up to us and saying, "Hey, Masons on motorcycles, I didn't know." Because they don't watch Sky. They don't see The Sun, our paper, and they don't obviously sometimes read Arena or Freemasonry Today. So we're still finding members out there.
Yeah. Well, as a chapter, how many candidates have we signed on this year that will become potential members, Pigpen?
Well, we've just done 4 this week.
Yeah. So this calendar year we've patched in 3 and we've got 4 more candidates. Is that right? Or have we patched in 4?
We've got at least 4 more. At least 4 more that have just come on board.
Yeah. Well, at the moment we've got 11 candidates.
How many of the 11 candidates do we hope to convert to full members? Because the conversion is not as high as we'd like it to be, is it?
I think Pigpen's done quite a good job of rootling out the ones that don't really turn up, or should I say, never turned up.
We had 16 before this last half dozen I put on, and I sort of sent them a nice email saying thank you very much. And
don't call us, we'll call you.
Yeah.
Well,
signed Pigpen, chapter enforcer.
we're cutting their candidacy because, to be fair, a lot of them had been in 3 or 4 years and I'd never met them.
Yeah.
So it's like, please reapply if your circumstances, allow you to do it. So
yeah, I think some of them fill in the form on the website.
Yep,
and they think they're going to get their patches in the post, don't they?
They do. Now, one thing I think which is very close to you, Greg, and is actually our final question, is about the Life Lights charity. Now, we had a Christmas party last weekend, and we raised £270 in a raffle, which is going to go towards Life Lights. And we're asking the members to top that up from the charity pot that we have to a princely sum of £500.
That is fantastic. If you recall when I launched the appeal, that I said if every member paid price of a pint in London, £5 per year for 4 years, we'd hit the target of £20,000.
Yeah.
£20,000 makes us a platinum partner. The platinum partners is quite select, including Tom Jones, the singer, and a few provinces. And then you look at the gold and the silver and the bronze, and where you'll see nestling other provinces. So I think the Widow's Sons, we are now, because of how much we've raised to date, they've made us a platinum partner already.
Fantastic.
Wow. So you've heard that all your other chapters, get your act together.
Yep.
You've heard it straight from the horse's mouth. £500 per chapter. Get it to Greg as soon as you can.
Life Lights operates in every children's hospice throughout the UK.
Okay.
And it's all donations.
Yeah.
And Rick Wakeman does a lot for them.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that to try and get something from him that we can auction at the President's Ball in Maidstone at the end of January.
Yeah,
I know not everybody can make it. Obviously, the chapters in the southeast we're piling into it, but it may be that next year another president will take it up and do something north. Yeah. We've got 4 years to find £20,000.
Yeah,
I reckon we'll do it in a year.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's great.
This is something I can then take to Freemasonry Today, Arena, or the provinces. Because this is a unified effort. But at the moment. Yeah. I think only about not even a quarter of the chapters are behind it.
Okay. Right. You heard what Yaki said earlier. pull your finger out of the chapters, get that money across. In the words of Bob Geldof, we want your f***ing money.
Yeah, thanks for that, Gremlin. Appreciate that. Right, so if there's nothing else, does anyone else have any questions for Greg?
Yeah, I'd just like to say, Greg, thank you so much for sparing the time to come and speak to us.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Greg.
Is there anything you want to say, Greg?
I will now try and find all your previous podcasts because they sound like they're a lot of fun.
Yep.
And I think again,
don't expect too much.
Okay,
yeah, keep your expectations low.
Yeah.
But it's another initiative that's promoting us.
It is. Yeah.
Anything like this, like the Sun podcast, whatever, it can only be for the good. This is a season of goodwill. I'd like to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a happy and prosperous New Year. And I look forward to seeing you all at the AGM.
Yeah, you will.
Eligible. And with any luck, if I get voted back in, I'll hopefully do a better job next year than I've done this year.
Oh, Greg, thank you so much.
So thanks very much to our special guest, Gregory Kirby, also known as Prep School. And maybe you can come back on the show in maybe next year sometime and report back in and tell us how things are going. So that's Greg Kirby, everyone. Thanks again.
Okay, listen, thanks, Leslie. But I didn't know what to expect. So you've made this.
Cheers, Greg.
I've enjoyed it.
Merry Christmas to you.
Yes, thank you.
And we're back into segment 3, which you all know is
Email Corner.
Yes, we're back into Email Corner for this month's messages from listeners. First of all, I'd like to say hello to Jed Chadsack, who has subscribed to us on YouTube. So thanks for that, Jed. Right, who's got an email?
I've got one. Dear Ridecast, so Pigpen has made it abundantly clear that he's not a fan of arch motorcycles. So my question is, if money was no object, what would he buy? And the same question to Gremlin and Yaka. And that's for Graham, north of the border.
Okay.
Bonnie lad. Great to have you on.
Yeah. Okay, Pigpen, you're up first then. Money no object buy.
It's a Harley Davidson. Come on, PP. We know the answer.
No, not enough money in the world to make me do that. I don't know. If I went down the sports bike route, it'd probably have to be the BMW.
Oh, the S2E5.
Yeah, I still fancy.
Yeah, you still like your sports bikes, don't you? For an old giffer, you like your sports bikes.
It's still my true.
Your first love.
Falling, that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
The thrill of them. I don't know. Yeah, I could be tempted into a breakout.
Yeah, I know you've said that before.
What about a vintage bike? Would you love an old slingshot again? Get a bit of nostalgia for an old GSXR?
I've still got my old one.
Of course you have, yeah. I thought it was the S-Rad you had, but you've got a slingshot as well.
I have a slingshot as well, an 88 slingshot. That was my
Hang
first.
on a second. Where's that hiding?
Oh, that's hiding it back at workshop somewhere.
Is it complete or is it?
Yeah, it's all complete.
No MOT on it, or battery or
No,
tyres
it
on
could
it.
probably do with a rebuild by now. I know when it got put away, it was nearly like a 2-stroke. It went through oil as fast as it went through petrol. We're getting a bit.
Needs rings.
And there you go, moaning about Harley Davidsons.
It had been hammered. Well,
all right then. What about you, Gremlin? Money no object bike? I think you've owned all the bikes you've ever wanted, haven't you?
I don't think it comes down to money. I think it comes down to
as a man with money.
Yeah.
I think it's personal choice. To be fair, right now, I would give any amount of money to be able to ride on 2 wheels.
Yeah.
And I think I actually went, and you're going to criticize me and just say you're a Harley Davidson through and through. But I'd like at some stage to be able to go on an adventure bike.
Right.
And looking at some of the BMW GS, I'm not even going to say a Pan America. Some of those BMWs are pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And, from a stylish vintage point of view, call me sucking up to Bobby, but I love his Triumph.
You like the Tiger?
Yeah. No, the one behind him.
Oh, the
picture.
What's that? What's that one?
Yeah, I didn't mention that earlier.
That's the America, isn't it?
It's the last carburettor Triumph America that they made, but it's obviously been modified heavily. Single seat, short pipes, etc., etc. It's lovely. I love it. Absolutely love it.
So ask me this question in a few months after riding a trike. Will that be my bike of choice forever? I don't know, but it's certainly going to be something that gets me out there again.
Hey, Pigpen, we might see him on a KTM in a.
Well, I'm going to say, to be fair with what he said there, the only criticism I'd have of him was he couldn't ride two wheels before. So really, it wouldn't make a lot of difference how much money he had.
What about you, Bobby? Money, no object. What would you buy?
Well, you know what I'm going to say. I can't help it. It's
a triumph.
People get obsessed with brands, don't they? But well, no, actually, there are two. If I'd really, really like, but I really don't know why I'm saying this. I really like the Kawasaki H2 Ninja, the touring one, the touring one. I just think
not the one that's in Top Gun Maverick, not that super sport thing.
Yeah. But they do a touring version of it. It's still got the charge and everything on it, but it's got luggage and stuff with it.
Takes my breath away.
Hey, but I think I'd probably go for. I'm ashamed you're going to say the Triumph Rocket 3 GT.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Just because I just think it's an iconic looking bike. I really, really like it. I've got a few friends that have got them. Obviously, been in Triumph Owners Club, the Jorvik Vikings, whatever. But I've got a few friends that have got them, and they are absolutely awesome. And the power is just—it's ridiculous.
Is that what Elton has?
Yeah. Okay, Inky, what about you? Money, no object bike.
I think I'd like a breakout, just without all the chromey bits.
They are the nicest looking of all the Harleys, I've got to say. They are lovely. Kenny's is lovely. Obviously, yours is nice, and House has got one as well, hasn't he?
I've sold mine.
Oh, yours has gone.
Yeah, it's gone.
Okay.
That's.
There's only House and Kenny now who've got breakouts.
Yeah. Well, mine would be. I've always wanted a 916, an original SPS 916. You know, the foggy replica. You can pick them up now. They're not even that dear. So as far as money is no object. It doesn't really.
You're not too tall.
What colour would you go for?
Maybe a little. It wouldn't be red. It'd have to be that Ducati red. But yeah, that's the bike that I always wanted as a young man, and obviously never had, and I'd love one now. Again, a bit of a nostalgia fest going on, but there you go. So I think that answers that email, doesn't it?
It does. Thank you, Graham.
Yeah, thanks for that, Graham. What about you, Pigpen? Have you got an email?
I have. Dear Ridecast team, in your garage / workshop, which is your favourite tool and which tool always goes missing?
So it sounds like a ride out with you, doesn't it?
I'm going to say the favourite one in Gremlins is himself. He's the biggest tool in his workshop. His is a hydraulic brake bleeding kit. And his one that always goes missing is his 10mm socket.
10mm socket.
Yeah, I don't know. What's the favourite tool?
Who's the email from?
Who's that from, Pigpen?
It's Mal, it says.
Malcolm.
Wherever Malcolm's from, I don't know. He doesn't say anything more than that, but just Malcolm. And Happy New Year to you, Malcolm.
Favourite tool? I've got two favourite tools. I'll go first if that's okay with you guys. You know the long piece of wire that has a plunger on one end and a little claw on the other end?
Oh, yeah.
You drop stuff behind your fairing, you can reach down and grab it and bits out of your engine that you drop in. That's my favourite tool, followed closely by my torque wrench. Because Pigpen, you'll know what I'm on. So actually, everyone will know what I'm talking about here, apart from Gremlin. But that satisfying click you get on your torque wrench when you're torquing a nut up or a bolt up. Oh, it's the best.
Yeah.
Click.
Most of my torque wrenching's just me going.
Yeah, you just do it tight as what is it? Tight as F, they call it, don't they?
Before it strips, it's tight.
Yeah, it's when it goes loose again and you go, oh no.
I think my favourite tools are actually a set of spanners I bought. Probably
Snap-on.
No, they're a cheap make that I bought probably 35 years ago, and I've still got them.
Have you still got the 10mm?
The ratchets, yeah, I've still got them all. These and the ratchet spanners, the very first ones that sort of really came out. Yeah, I just
sentimental attachment to those. Yeah, been through a lot together.
Yeah. My biggest thing is because when I used to do mechanicking on site for big heavy plants, was you'd end up losing loads of bits of tools because you'd be working in the middle of a quarry or on a bloody mine or somewhere. So you stopped buying good tools. You just bought cheap.
Yeah, thank you, thank you, Pigpen. You've just put my glass eye to sleep.
You just bought cheap old stuff. And, you know, what got annoying was when you lost some, and then you had to go get your good ones out that night.
Yeah.
Do you know, can I just say something? Last week we were complaining that you didn't say it enough. This week I'm just thinking, shut the off.
Shut up, you.
That's a few beeps for me to put in there. All right, come on,
just leave it.
right,
Let's give Gremlin a chance. Come on, Gremlin,
Oh,
with an open heart. Tell us what your favourite tool is in your workshop and the one that you always lose.
He's only got 3 things.
It's going to be his battery charger, isn't it?
No,
I love my
I know
battery, my thingy that goes onto the battery.
Optimate.
Yeah, your
Optimate.
your trickle charge. I knew it. That's his
That's
favourite.
all he's got. That and a hammer.
His favourite tool.
Nothing else you need for a Harley, is there? Something to charge the battery up and a hammer to hit it.
I need to ask the mechanics at Leeds Harley Davidson what we're going on about here. I've got no idea.
His favourite tool is his American Express black card is his favourite tool.
yeah. Go on, Bobby. We know you strip bikes down and rebuild them. What's your favourite tool?
I'd have to go with the torque wrench, I think.
Yeah, that's nice,
sorry,
isn't it? Good quality torque wrench.
That 955 Tiger.
Oh yeah, is that the same as a monkey wrench?
No.
Oh.
It's like a ratchet. Do you know what a ratchet is, Gremlin?
We've got one in the garden, and is that when it goes for a dump?
No, it's not that big thing in running around in your house.
Has he got a
Don't
dog
talk
or a
about
ratchet?
tests like that.
No, we've got a rat in the garden. Thank God it's not in the kitchen.
Inky, let's get something serious from you. Your favourite tool. Come on, surprise us.
I have to be similar to Pigpen with this one. It's a Baco socket set I bought years ago. And normally I'd lose bits everywhere. Keep this one. Sorry to
Ignore him. He's just jealous because he doesn't know any names of tools. Does he?
The only tool he ever sees is when he looks in a mirror.
Can we talk about something that's interesting? Like,
all right, look, I'll move on.
Like me.
Mal, I did my best to get everyone to answer that.
We tried, Mal. We've just got a tool who's on this show. That's not the bottom of it.
Right, here we go. Here's the next email. This is from Jim Scott. So thanks for your message, Jim. Dear Gremlin, in last month's episode, you mentioned that the Arch Method 143 was probably 143 CI. What does this mean?
Cubic inches.
So what does that mean?
I haven't got a bloody clue.
He hasn't got a clue. Right, Pigpen, do you want to explain this one?
No, I want Gremlin to carry on and inform the listeners of what's going on.
I don't think he knows. Come on, you must know what it means.
He hasn't got an absolute Scooby-Doo about anything.
Right, come on, a cubic inch is a unit of
Googled
volume is the appearance of units.
Internet quickly, have we?
Come on, we all know what a cubic inch is. It's your volume thingy, majiggy.
Size of your engine, yeah. In the UK, we use...
The size of his engine is a cubic inch, yeah.
Obviously, in the UK, we use the metric system, so we measure engines by cc. In America, they're still on the imperial system, so it's cubic inch.
Yeah, so could you think you can edit this so I sound quite intelligent?
I think that's impossible even for me, mate.
He's not Stock Aitken and Walkerman, is he?
Yeah, takes a better editor than me, mate, to make you sound interesting and clever. Anyway, right. Is there anything else, guys?
Yeah, I've got a Pigpen pal.
Oh, good. Let's listen to that. We haven't had a Pigpen pal in a while, have we?
No. It's Dear Pigpen. My name is Hilda. I'm 105 this year. My favourite time of the year is Christmas. I love Santa coming down the chimney and emptying his sack all over my floor. Pigpen, please can you do me the honour this year of emptying your sack all over my floor?
I hate Christmas.
Well, we're a bit late for that now because actually Christmas was a few days ago. So.
Well, Hilda, you might be 106 next year. If you're still alive, love, we'll get him down your chimney and up your flue.
Well, I bet if he was a turkey farmer, he'd like Christmas a bit more.
Yeah,
he'd love Christmas then. Right, Bobby, have you got? Did you say you had an email there?
I have got an email that you've sent me. It says, "Dear Ridecast, it says, I know this has been discussed previously, I've noticed that there is an increase in people providing their own road names and refusing to accept their given names. Do you think this is acceptable, and what punishment should be issued to brethren who do this? And that's from IKEA Breakfast.
IKEA Breakfast, all right.
Oh.
Actually, you know what? You make a good point there, IKEA, because I've noticed people, new candidates, appearing and giving
They have
themselves
badges with the names on.
Yeah,
don't
they're
they?
giving themselves names left, right, and centre, aren't they? It's like, hold on a minute. The tradition is you're christened by the chapter.
Exactly.
So-
Exactly. And yeah, it's a good point. Well, I mean, I don't know what everybody thinks about it. I don't think you should be able to just name yourself. Just turn up with your name on.
If you've got an old nickname, then you petition the president, and the president will then say yes or no. But
Some candidate came online, I think, while I was in America, and changed his name to.
No idea who that was.
Is that somebody called? Who apparently Pigpen is now christened Ivor the Engine because he was a train driver.
I think he's gone back to again, Auntie.
I think he has. Anyway, listen, just
But this is the point, though. If everybody decides to call you Ivor, that's your name, and you're stuck with it. You shouldn't be able to decide your own name.
Is that right, Booby?
Yeah.
Booby, yeah. Anyway, look, if we're about to wrap up, before we go, there's a couple of things I'd like to say to the listeners. First of all, obviously, from all of us at Ridecast, we hope you've had a great Christmas and Happy New Year for 2023. We'll see you all at the rally.
Yep.
And Happy New Year to all our listeners, not just the Widow Sons and Masons.
Yep.
And I'd like to ask all our listeners to do us a favour.
Continue. Please listen to at least one more episode before we're cancelled.
No, we need you to spread the word, tell your friends about the show, get everyone on board, get everyone listening, send them the links, pass on the
Get in
links to them.
touch. More important, get in touch.
Yeah, send us an email, ridecast@hotmail.com. We only had 4 or 5 emails this month. which is
Remember,
a little bit-
Keanu's coming on next year.
Yes, he is.
And the PGM.
So please help us spread the good news about the Ridecast and get us some more listeners.
Yeah.
And on that note, we'll wrap the show up. So from myself, Yaka signing off. From Bobby. Bobby, would you like to say goodbye?
Yeah, goodbye.
Inky.
See you later.
And finally, over to you, Gremlin.
It's goodbye from him.
It's goodbye from me.
Cheers, guys. See you later.
See ya.
Happy New Year, everyone.
See you later.
Excellent. I've been invited.